Hello, everyone. Nice to see you again here for this third news flash about the DeWeb, the Massa's decentralized web. So to remind you how it works, the idea is that Massa allows you to host a domain name and also a full website directly on chain, which makes it highly resilient against attacks, censorship, everything basically. And what's interesting here is that we've been building this DeWeb for a couple of weeks now, and there are a lot of news. First of all, the BuildNet open beta has been released to the public. So it's essentially Massa's vision of what the decentralized web host should be. So the open beta has been released on BuildNet, so it's not on mainnet yet. It's a separate network. The repository of all the source code on how it works, everything has been open sourced, so you can play with it, you can have a look how it works. You can even contribute to it as open source contributors, so feel free to check it out. So what's possible? Right now, it's already possible to upload your websites on the DeWeb. You can access them either through a local server app that you can install on your computer to have access to all the websites, or you can install it, you can access it without installing anything through public providers. And what's amazing is that we already have our first community providers. There's a couple of people in the community and companies that decided to launch providers, public providers, so you can access the DeWeb through them. Many community D apps already moved to the DeWeb. So a lot of our builders, Massa Hub, Massamon, Dusa, Altai, a lot of people already, a lot of our builders already moved to the DeWeb. So now many of these apps are hosted fully on-chain. There's no more intermediaries. Basically, the way it works is that you type like mywebsite.massa in your browser, and you get directly to the website. The domain name is resolved on-chain. The website is stored on-chain. You don't depend on any external provider anymore. It's basically, once you deploy it, it's there forever. And that's extremely powerful. And because we listened to the feedback of the community, we already had a lot of feedback because of this. And today we released the version 0.1.0, which is a quality of life improvement. We have improved the finality flow in the CLI to upload websites, so it's a bit better now. It's a bit faster, it's a bit better. We also added a search page and error pages as well, because so far when there was an error, it was a bit complicated to understand, and that was one of the feedbacks we got. And actually, I'm going to show you this one live. Here, for example, if I go on a website that a given provider, a public provider, has decided not to serve, I'm gonna receive this error that tells me that I might want to switch providers towards one that does serve it, or to run locally. If a domain name does not exist, here I have a 404 page with the possibility to buy a domain. And this one is being prepared still. It's basically to search a domain directly. It's like a home page. And in the future, we're thinking to extend this to a full-fledged index of websites, etc., so you can easily find all the websites on the DeWeb. So to get back to my presentation, so what's next? Still improving the quality of life for the users and the developers, improving the DeWeb homepage, implement all the feedback that we got from the community. We also have requests from the community that we still need to fulfill. Provide a registry to basically have a registry both of websites and of providers, so that people can easily find all of those things and have some equivalent of, let's say, Google on the DeWeb. So that's kind of the main target. Also, we're going to continue communication and partnerships. We're going to try to sign partnerships with as many projects as we can to deploy on the DeWeb and see what we can do all together, so that Massa is not just isolated. Because remember, the DeWeb can also be used to host websites and decentralized apps for other blockchains. It's not just for Massa. And that's extremely powerful and also a good avenue for partnerships. We need to address some pain points. For example, we would like to make it possible to also programmatically interact with the websites. So we want to define a new smart contract standard. We also want existing smart contracts to be able to host websites on top of them without having to create a separate address. So this is also being implemented. Batch signing that will allow for much faster upload of websites. Also, especially for big websites, we're going to improve the flow massively so that it's much faster and much less demanding in terms of user interaction. You don't need to sign every batch manually. It's going to be much more easy. So in terms of global roadmap, we already finished the first milestone. It's done. Now we are here. We are preparing the next milestone, which is the mainnet launch. We expect this for the end of Q3. We are still working on this. The idea would be that we register and deploy a full front end for Liquidity, which is a stable coin, and maybe interact with them to see if we can get some kind of partnership. In any case, it's going to be the first showcase of a DApp hosted on Massa and acting on another blockchain. So that's this. We will also deploy more and more projects on the DeWeb, this time on mainnet, not on BuildNet. Launch the DeWeb homepage, open basically all the APIs for website upload directed to the community so that anybody can interact with them either manually or through programs. And we are thinking of showcasing all of this so that it doesn't stay invisible. We want to hit hard in terms of marketing, in terms of partnerships, but also organize probably a hackathon, community incentives, so that the community feels engaged and we bring new people to the community, new builders to play with this very unique feature. And finally, once all this is in place, we are going to continue gathering your feedback and explore what we can do next, develop synergies with autonomous smart contracts, onboard more DeFi protocols, develop Web3 partnerships, improve the DeWeb experience, upgrade everything. We are thinking of a V2 in terms of smart contracts that will allow for smoother uploads, for example, to interact with smart contracts directly from the DeWeb, for smart contracts to be able to update some data on the DeWeb, stuff like that. And also organize a big community call, not like these small ones that we do every week, but like a bigger community call where we are going to ask for the feedback, given all that has been deployed from the community, discuss the next steps, discuss the ideas, what we do next. We have many ideas and we will love to present them to you. So that's all for me for today. If you have any questions, feel free. You have 1 minute to give them to me. And hey, hi Joel. Hi Jiku. Hi Masahab. Okay, hello. I will take a look because I don't understand. All the websites will be on the chain. Yes, all the website data is on the same place where the smart contracts are. So the same way you would host the smart contracts on Ethereum, for example, it's hosted the same way on Massa. Do you have any plans about server-side rendering in the future? We are thinking about it. It's part of the ideas. For example, we could have a read-only call to a smart contract that actually processes some stuff before sending it to the browser. It's part of the ideas, but for now, we prefer to start with static websites and to let the community give us the feedback of what can be the most useful for them right now. Okay. If there's no more questions, these little calls are made to be brief and quick. So feel free to continue asking your questions first on the community. And also, if you want to have a more serious discussion, all these ideas we're talking about, they're all being published on the forums, on the Massa forums. That's to have more serious discussions. So feel free to go to the forums, read all the proposals we have made, suggest anything, suggest any modifications. The idea is the community also decides what we do. There's a new question. Maybe you can transform our code in SA and smart contracts and deploy it. Actually, technically we could do anything. We could have a smart contract, a read-only smart contract that transforms stuff before upload. That's for sure. So a smart contract itself can upload a website. For example, you can create your own version of the standard we're going to provide for smart contract upload, and maybe we can discuss of how this can be integrated. The Also the opposite, which is once a website is hosted on chain, we could imagine having a read-only smart contract call that loads it, transforms it server side, and sends it to the front end, to the browser. So all these are options that we need to discuss together, see if they make sense, if there is a use case for that. So instead of building a particular chain, is it possible to connect with XLR, to connect to all the chains at once? Well, I think here you're not talking that much about the DeWeb, because the DeWeb is fundamentally cross-chain. We're actually going to demonstrate this with the Liquidity front end in the next milestone. What websites that you host on Masa are available everywhere. Then, if Kaiv is up for indexing them, we are completely open for partnerships. We're actually very, very eager to do that. Same thing, XLR can be interesting more for the cross-chain communication side. And this has more to do with the automation part of Masa than it does with the DeWeb. So next week, there's going to be a community call about the automation side. So feel free to be there and ask this question again. I will give you a bit more details on that. Run a container is in a smart contract. Docker container in a smart contract. Interesting idea. Sounds a bit heavy, honestly, because you would need to launch almost like a full-fledged operating system to wrap it around. Remember that smart contracts are working on virtual machines that don't have an operating system. It's like having a naked microcontroller or CPU and no operating system. So we are a bit limited in what we can do, especially given the computation time. Because remember, each block has thousands of transactions, and each block needs to be processed in just half a second. So for now, we are limited on this. That being said, within the ideas we want to propose on the DeWeb, there are some ideas where in the future we would allow people, members of the community, also node runners, to possibly provide services against a small fee. So they could, for example, provide storage services to store more than what we can do store more than what we can store right now on the DeWeb, or to provide VPN accesses, or to provide container execution, so some kind of decentralized Docker. All this is in a study phase. We are discussing about it, and you are very welcome to join the discussion in the forums. Okay, if there's no more questions, thank you all for your attention, and let's continue on the